Hello everyone, what's up? Moses here, and today we talk about the Occultist. It's been 2 weeks into the league. I found a nice energy shield based, anger based, discipline based Watcher's Eye, and refused a 7 exalted trade for someone who wanted to buy it, just because I felt I should probably be using it myself. So I made this Occultist. It's an excellent energy shield based Ascendancy, and we're going to talk about it a little bit. So Occultist allows us to get a massive amount, 100 and 150 to energy shield. So 250 increased energy shield. The base nodes here gives us a bunch of energy shield recharge rate and 16% to maximum energy shield. And over here we have replenishment of energy shield per second for each enemy you killed or your minions, up to 30%. But here is the power line: cannot be stunned while you have energy shield, which means unless you're dead, you cannot be stunned. Sounds pretty good. Cannot be stunned basically saves us the presence of Chayula Amulet, which people use for energy shield based builds, so that they can get the cannot be stunned. It's pretty huge, pretty huge. Yeah, so this is the powerhouse of the Occultist. Now, the rest of the Ascendancy I've chosen Profane Bloom, which is a massive explosions, just clearing everything with nice, satisfying explosion sounds. You're gonna hear that soon. And yeah, just can apply to hexproof enemies, your curses, and you can either choose +1 to curse and increase effect of your curse and all that kind of stuff. Non-cast is extra chaos when you kill. Again, not that relevant, that line. Just basically it's an additional curse. And over here, Forbidden Power, which is what I think I'm going to go and get. It's going to save us some links. Currently we're kind of like starved for sockets, so I'm probably going to go for Forbidden Power, which gives us +1 max power charges and just basically permanently be on maximum power charges when you spend recently a total of 100 mons. So you always gain a power charge, right? And it's kind of like self-sustain. And of course, again, some spell damage, some area damage per power charge, which is going to be either 4 or 5. We're going to see later. Maybe I'll pick another one on the tree. So this is the Ascendancy. Our skill is Armageddon brand, which basically makes these little brands on the ground. See those little things? And when you use your brand recall, they will slam on the ground. You can have up to 5 of these things. And every time you use your brand recall, it refreshes its duration whenever it hits enemies. So they never expire. You can have 5 of these and they can just escort you throughout the entire map, which is pretty freaking cool. They do a massive amount of damage with the Ascendancy of the Profane Bloom. The explosions just really give a very, very nice, satisfying, clear bunch of explosions. Super cool build, and I'm actually loving it. So yeah, I chose to go LowLife again because you know, Vile Bastion allows it. I don't think I've ever used Chevron's Chest in any build that I can remember. Okay, and maybe there was one build. Oh yeah, maybe the LowLife Templar level 100 Guardian Righteous Fire. That was ancient times ago. But never mind. So yeah, what Chevron's Chest allows us to do is chaos damage do not bypass energy shield, which means instead of dying because you actually only have 99 life, the chaos damage need to penetrate roughly 10,000 life that I have currently. And while having low life, it allows us to be pain attunement, which means low life, 30% more damage. We also make use of elemental overload, which means whenever we crit, we will recently, like 8 second recently and extended recently, we get 40% more elemental damage. So that's a huge more multiplier, and this also here is a huge more multiplier. Basically 2 more support gems for our 6-link setup. These 2 gems. But of course it means that we don't have any crit multi, and no damage for elements from critical strikes as well. So there is that penalty, but it's okay because this is a non-crit build. So yeah, for the links we got Armageddon brand with Fire Pen, with Control Destruction, Combustion, Efficacy, and Immolate. For the rest of the links, in order to reserve our mana, we're using Herald of Ash and Discipline. Discipline gives us energy shield a bunch, and Herald of Ash gives us more spell damage, more burning damage, and base burning damage is 25% of overkill damage. So it will basically create kind of like chain cascading fire. So when there's an overkill damage, enemy nearby will burn for that damage, 25% of that. So basically that's what this means. Herald of Ash, very, very good for any kind of fire type build. With Discipline for the energy shield. Blood magic is attached to then reserve these for from life instead of from mana. But in order to be able to do that, we still need an Enlightened gem that will reduce the mana multiplier. So instead of exceeding the amount of life, this gives us an 8% reduction, because mana multiplier is 92% instead of 100%. That's an 8% reduction, which basically allows us to reserve exactly how much we need, which is going to put us on low life. That's the setup for the mana reservation for life. For mana reservation, we're actually using temporal chains over here that is linked with Heretic's Veil, which basically means that it gives us a blasphemy aura, right? Blasphemy makes a curse an aura, and yeah, temporal chains is going to be that aura. As well on this we have Empower linked with Arcane Surge and Brand Recall. Brand Recall again recalls the brands to us, and whenever we use it we also get an Arcane Surge buff right here, so it gives us a nice more multiplier. Basically it's always active, right? More cast speed, more spell damage. And the power makes it so that it increases the level of of temp chains and brand recall. Yeah, because brand recall gets cooldown reduced for every level it gets. So it's in our best intention to hopefully evolve this and get a level 7, because level 6 is maximum as far as I know. Maybe it's 7 and 8, but I think it's level 6 maximum. Oh, we'll figure it out when we level it up. But yeah, level 6 is maximum, and then evolve, hope for a level 7 to reduce the cooldown, which means you can spam your brand recall more and more and more, which means the brands are going to be more available and accessible to you. For the rest of the links, we have increased duration, phase run, and as I look at it, it has an increased duration, and of course anger, right? Anger is a flat fire damage to spells, which enables our Watcher's Eye. Yeah, so flat fire damage to spells, and our Watcher's Eye means that while we're affected by anger, which is all the time, this is our aura, our fire damage penetrates 15% resistances, so 15% Elipen, and this is also a discipline one that makes it so that energy shield gain for each enemy hit while affected by energy shield, by discipline. It's not that important. As a matter of fact, it's barely important at all, because for each enemy it's not energy shield per hit or something like that. It's just for each enemy. So if we're fighting a boss, we're barely getting any kind of recovery. We're mostly relying on our natural energy shield regeneration. But still, it's kind of nice for sustain, so I guess we made the build around it, discipline and anger. So that's what it is. Mostly it's the anger fire pen, that's the jewel that you want. Having the both of them really doesn't do too much when it comes to the discipline right there. So yeah, now that I look at it, I have an increased duration with phase run. Phase run, of course, is just our movement skill. This gives us a nice little burst of speed. I should probably move the anger over here and then attach a Val Righteous Fire for a burst of additional damage for a prolonged duration with as a 3-link over here. Now that I look at it, it's probably something I should do soon. So increased critical strikes, blind, orb of storms, and power charge on crit is how we generate our power charges. This entire setup is probably going to go completely, and we will probably not even use any blind with this build. I just simply use it right now because I can, and because I still haven't picked up my forbidden power that allows me to automatically generate my power charges, right? So once we use that, we basically won't need a power charge on crit, because we constantly are going to spend mana, and we're constantly going to have you know, our maximum power charges up once they wind up. And that's kind of it. When it comes to the gear itself, we just have some energy shield resist, some fire damage to spells, Mark of the Shaper and an Elder Ring. So Mark of the Shaper, lightning damage to spells, you know, elemental damage, big spell damage if you're on the ring is an Elder, and the other ring is an Elder with the Warlord's Mark, which is how we leech our mana. Some resist, some energy shield. Over here we got some resist, energy shield, nothing too crazy. Again, over here we got the helm enchant. I got this helm for 3 exalts. I don't really think it's actually that important, and maybe I'm also going to use a different helm altogether pretty soon. But yeah, I got this one, felt okay at the time. Maybe we'll swap that for now. I'm using it. No boot enchant currently. I haven't done my Uber Lab, so we'll get to that a bit later. But these boots are kind of interesting. Doriani's Delusion. Shout out to Mazer that reminded me those existed. They actually give nice fire damage to spells and attacks. Pretty solid amount of, you know, nothing game breaking, just about 170 energy shield with a perfect roll. So it can't go much higher than that unless, you know, Betrayal happens and I can get like a little bit of an extra bonus on these boots. But yeah, increased movement speed 30. You don't need much more than that. Resistances are not balanced, so I can't currently use Wise Oak, so my Flasks are Serious Promise for the extra chaos resist, because even though our chaos does not penetrate our energy shield, chaos damage still pretty much hurts, painful. So we want our chaos resist a little bit off of this Flask, as well as elemental as extra chaos damage. Physical as extra chaos doesn't do anything for our build again. Just 15 as extra chaos from our elemental. We got some basalt action for additional phys damage reduction, sulfur flask for an increased damage boost, as well as heat suffix for removal of freezes. Over here we got our warding for removal of curses. Over here staunching, quicksilver for the movement speed and bleed removal, and alchemist jade of dowsing for a little bit of extra defenses. Normally we have 17% chance to dodge based on, to evade based on the almost 2000 evasion, and when we pop that we got about 42%, and that pretty much should be active throughout your mapping, so that's pretty cool. Also removes burning, and yeah, that's pretty much it. When it comes to the tree, again, we are Occultist, talked about that already. We're using an energy from within, which converts all these life nodes. Normally they're going to be life nodes. Instead, they're going to turn into, like, they're life and mana nodes, and all the life is being converted to energy shield. So when you put an energy shield, energy from within, instead of 9.3, we're going to have 9.7. It's a big chunk of energy shield for us. Outside of that, just grabbing all the energy shield nodes and all the all the brand nodes right here that are making the skill pretty effective. Right here, and right here. This allows us to get an additional brand attached to an enemy. So normally you can only have one. With this you can have two. So 2 brands attached to one enemy for the single target, and of course all sorts of brand quality of life, attachment range over here, just damage with brands, and yeah, some energy shield everywhere we can get it, some area of effect, some spell damage, cast speed. Over here we got our mana reservation nodes. We can't really do anything without them, because then I won't be able to, you know, reserve both Herald of Ash and Discipline off of my life. So I have to pick up these nodes right here, unfortunately. Yeah, and maybe I don't know what we'll do about these curse nodes. Probably I'm going to get the increased effect of your curses, just so that temp chains will be a bit more effective, because this particular node is doing kind of nothing. Increased cast speed, we're not actively casting, so this is kind of a blank node right here. Over here, just energy shield, max light res, the jewel we talked about. This is another jewel, and we have of course potential to get into this jewel 2 socket away. This jewel is 2 points away, and that's pretty much it. Now we're about to spawn Uber Elder. Let's get into a wasteful map. The character again is level 83, so let's just run a wasteful map. This is rare unidentified. I don't want to get into reflect and kill myself, but yeah, it's just Al can go. Reflect, elemental, yeah, good thing I noticed. Less recovery, rather not do. What do we have here? Seems good. Alright, extra damage is fire, essentially, elemental equilibrium. Elemental equilibrium means we're going to be doing a little less damage, but it's fine because we do in fact have a lightning spell here. So we can proc that while while we're fighting against the boss, right? So yeah, at the beginning you want to summon your brands. At the beginning of the map it's going to take a little bit because most of you are no, let's not get one-shotted by the frickin' oh god. This guy? Which one keeps them alive? Alright. Yeah, syndicate people, man. That's harsh. That's harsh. Alright. Riker, Giannis, Jans, another orb, and Sepulchre. What do we have? Guff.
Just do it.
Given rank. Giannis. Moved him. Riker. How could become trusted for intervention? Sure. Hey, we got intervention. Safe house. Seems good.
Hello.
Ring? Do I have? No, I actually have all the items. Would be nice if, like, we would get some sort of a notification when an item drop, whether we have it or not, because, you know, most of these items don't roll anywhere close to being good. But still, you know, it's just kind of like a waste of time choosing and waiting and all that stuff. Anyways, we already had our league brand since the past video, so let's not get into that anymore. Alright, so this is the skill. The explosions feels good. The automaton, you know, Herald of Ash feels good, and you can see like it really all lives and dies on the you know, your brand recall essentially, because when this thing is up, you can pretty much just recall your brands to you, and yeah, they're always going to kind of like remain active throughout the entire time. We got a Dordre. We got a Dordre. And I'm out of flasks. Oh goodness, there it is. Okay, and she's dead. Seems good. Let's get out of here quickly. Vulnerability Doidry, not fun, not fun. But yeah, we still haven't done our Uber lab. There's still lots of optimization that we're going to do. I just kind of like wanted to make this quick video. Let's chance this. Alright. No exalt for the video. Alright, no problem, no problem. But yeah, I mean, I'm very much enjoying the skill. I leveled this build as life. I went at the beginning until like level 30 or something. I was just using, you know, first snows, jewels, and I was just basically running with freeze balls. So self-casting freeze balls with tabula. Things went alright, but around level 30, I think 35 or something like that, I changed to, wait, maybe it was like 40? I think, yeah. I think it was when I was able to pick up the major brand clusters. I was able to switch to brands. Early on, the damage was actually pretty low because the brands were pretty low level. Yeah, I started it, but I forgot to actually level it up when you were able to pick it up. So, rip. See, like these same brands are staying with you throughout the entire map, basically. And it makes for a very nice speed clear skill, which feels actually pretty good. We got some XP. Pretty soon we're going to level up. We're going to do Uber Lab. And you guys are welcome because I'm going to start the stream right now. Alright, so this was a skill. There's still a bunch of stuff to do, to update, to tweak, and probably going to craft some stuff maybe. And min-max this gear a little bit. Hopefully get in a Wise Oak over there as well. That was the build. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you all for watching. See you guys on stream.